NBA All-Star and Miami Heat assistant coach Caron Butler and author Justin A. Reynolds have teamed up again for a new novel, Clutch Time. Thank you both so much for your time today.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
Caron, let's go ahead and let's start with you. Growing up in Racine, you're there now for a book event. Bringing this, back home. Tell us a little bit about, what this feeling feels like for you, especially a place that shaped you. You got a little bit of trouble there. I'm sure there's a lot of emotions.
Yeah, it is a lot of emotions, like you touched on. I went through a lot of adversity growing up. Went through the penal system. Did 2 years in corrections as a juvenile, and after that life-changing moment in corrections, it was when I got out, I had proper mentorship, hit the ground running, ended up going to college at the University of Connecticut, and then going to the NBA, being drafted by the Miami Heat. And after a 16-year tenure in the NBA, was able to pivot into the analyst space, work for networks for quite some time, national networks, and then pivoted into the coaching space where I've been at 5 years. So it means a lot to talk about that journey, but also about these stories that we created with Shot Clock and Clutch Time.
Justin, let's talk a little bit about the partnership, teaming up for the first book and knowing that, there was more to tell about the story and teaming up for the second one.
Yeah, we knew from the very beginning that we wanted to create a community within the actual book space. And so we kind of were able to kind of architect Shot Clock with the idea of expanding the storytelling into a second book. And so KO is the star of our second book, and he's a young person who has to overcome quite a bit. On the court, he's a star, the next star in the making in the country. And yet off the court, he has a lot of issues that he has to deal with, including some of the things inside of him that question whether or not he truly is good enough. And so those are things that resonate with people of all ages, but especially we wanted to talk to young people and let them know that not only are they seen and heard, but they're indeed incredibly valued. And so everyone deserves a voice, and everyone deserves to see a hero inside of themselves. And so we hope to open that up with these stories with Clutch Time.
Yeah, I mean, especially sometimes you feel like there's not a place of power, influence, maybe in your community, your family, or where you're at, and then having a book or a movie or, a piece of media that you connect with that you're like, oh, anyone can do this. Caron, let's talk a little bit about you, especially being, 11, 12 years old and maybe not finding the books that you connected with that maybe you wanted to encourage your reading. Talk a little bit about what this book, you hope will do, for those 10, 11, 12-year-old kids out there right now.
You know what? I thought it was extremely frustrating that it was trying to self-diagnose me with a lot of different things because I wasn't gravitating to some of the books that was placed in my hand at a young age. And it was great books. It was part of the core curriculum, from Outsiders, Kill a Mockingbird, the list goes on, The Great Gatsby. But I skimmed through them to pass English classes and things like that, but I never really connected or identified with them. And it wasn't until, I got a little older and accumulated this platform, I was like, I want to tell stories that impact young people. And now we get the luxury and the privilege of going to schools, getting in front of young people and getting that connection and impact and seeing the magic in real time.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously a side note, but obviously parents are busy and they have a lot going on, and sometimes you're like, oh, you're reading at school, you're fine, but you really need to take an interest of like, what are your kids interested in, and maybe tailor some of those things to get them to learn in that way as well too. I mean, that's a whole nother 10-hour conversation, but that's very important, especially with creating these books.
And that's kind of the cool thing about this, is that after we were able to kind of go on the road with Shot Clock, we talked to so many kids. Then we were able to kind of incorporate what they were interested in and what was going on with their lives. And so it's kind of like you're getting a real-time update with Clutch Time, being able to kind of stay relevant and being top of the mind in terms of what kids are actually dealing with right now in schools, on and off the court.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk a little bit, we're talking about so much, but we haven't really talked about the plot of the story and KO's connection to his father and, what we're going to see in this.
Well, I would have to say this, because I don't want to give the book away, like all the insight. But what I will say, that if you're a fan of mentorship, if you're a fan of community, if you're a fan of watching someone go through adversity, young people, older people, and heal from their traumas, if you're an advocate for people making it from all walks of life, not just in sports, and finding the magic and the beauty inside themselves. If you're a fan of empathy, if you talk about the habits daily that you want your kids to inherit from determination, dedication, discipline, this book is for you. This is what it's all about. And these characters, trust me, some capacity, you will relate to these characters in a large percentage in your life.
That is the perfect way to end this, Ron and Justin. Thank you both so much for your time today. Clutch Time now in stores. Enjoy your time here in Racine.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.